All right, I'm starting.
Yeah, do it. Do it.
Hi, folks. GQX is way better than ABC. Don't understand what that means? Who the F cares? And go to HeShirtSheShirt.com and custom order that shirt so that you can confuse everyone around you as well. Because let's face facts, you probably need a rad shirt to cover your nipples that you've doused with Reese's peanut butter cups. And don't question our use of the head slicing thing. There are boners everywhere from back in the USSR, and the only prescription is a closet full of he shirt, she shirt. So scuttlebutt your way over to HeShirtSheShirt.com and order an amazing shirt today, while also using the code JSGCast for 10% off. Boner protection, not scientifically guaranteed. And now, please digest this episode of Just Some Boner Guardians.
I want you to imagine a subclass in Destiny of a boner guardian. Just imagine that existing. What does that look like? Besides probably exactly what we talked about in pre-show. It's just an old guy.
I'm thinking I just for some reason I have in my head it's a Titan. And when they instead of like the corona that comes off when they do like the shoulder charge, it's just a gigantic phallus that grows from their arm, and they they uppercut you into the air, and then they just fire streams of white goo at you.
Yeah.
And then it falls limp.
I'm picturing the shoulder charge, and it's just like fully erect, right? And they slide past you, and it's just mushroom stamped to the face. Poof.
Oh yeah. No, that's a good one too. Have you seen did you ever watch Pirates of Penzance?
Oh yeah.
Like there was like an 80s version where they it was all a dream. The Pirate King in that one has the most ridiculous crotch bling I have ever seen in my entire life. It is just gaudy with jewels, and it's very obvious. Like it's not like the rest of his costume is just like regular pirate fare, and then boom.
Hello. Oh yeah.
Yeah. That's what I imagine it would look like. Like that's the legendary gear is just
legendary gear. It's an exotic crotch piece,
right? And that's all it is. Like it just makes all the rest of your armor invisible, and you've just got like this major banana hammock with bling.
Yes,
it's like. It's got gold rhinestones, and when you use your super, just this massive erection, just whoosh.
And it makes that sound too. It has to go whoosh when it happens.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, of course. And then right before the timer runs out, it just swooshes everywhere, and then
it's like when you fill a balloon with air and you let go.
It just flies out. No. That's even better.
It disconnects.
So it's a balloon. It disconnects and starts flying around.
Has an RNG chance to like hit someone else for a crit strike somewhere.
And then it does like, you know how you have like the emotes that are like the neon and everything.
Oh yeah.
It's just a mushroom stamp of that across somebody's face.
Oh shit. We should design video games, Russ.
Bungie.
Yeah.
I give this to you for free.
For free. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 99 of Just Some Guardians. That's incredible. Holy shit. I'm your host for the evening, ELMMERFUDD. And joining me tonight, I have the... Hold on, let me get it right. It's taking forever to load. Effervescent Russell.
Oh. Man, how are you doing? The venerable ELMMERFUDD.
Damn, son. Woo. I'm doing wonderful, dude. I'm doing fantastic.
What you been up to this week?
We had, so the end of Izzy's spring break was last week. Mm-hmm. And so we were trying to figure out what we want to do. We wanted to like go to a coast and go to a beach or something. That's what we were looking at, like going down near you.
Yeah.
And then we're like, well, like we're kind of looking at doing like maybe a Disney trip next year. So we're like, let's reel it in and not spend a lot of money,
Yeah.
So we decided to go down to Colorado Springs for the weekend. So we left Thursday night when I got off work. It's like an hour and a half drive. Got the super sweet hotel, huge room, 24/7 pool, hot tub.
Nice.
And there was like no one there. So we always had it to ourselves, which is great with the kids. And then obviously, the pandemic stuff.
Oh yeah.
But,
sure.
And so we went and did Garden of the Gods and Cave of the Winds over there, a big cave tour. We were going to do the Cheyenne Mountain Zoo, but apparently, so if you go to the Denver Zoo, it's just huge and massive, and you just walk up, buy a ticket, and go in. So the Cheyenne Mountain Zoo, I didn't realize this. It's also huge and super cool. I've always wanted to go there. But it's like an international sensation hotspot. So like we went and looked it up after we got there and they were sold out. We didn't know that was a thing. And then we went up online and looked it up. You have to buy tickets 5 weeks in advance because it's that packed all the time.
So is it just, like I've never heard of it before. Did they just have like some crazy animals there? I guess, why is it so popular? Because of the Garden of the Gods, or
like Colorado Springs is a huge destination, right? Because there's so many parks right there and everything. Cave of the Winds is huge. Garden of the Gods is massive. I've got some stories with that, but yeah. So apparently their big thing is the enclosures are bigger, and then where the pedestrians are, you're all on these like floating catwalks. So you can like see everything better. You're like above everything, and so it's like
Jurassic Park.
It's kind of like Jurassic Park.
So minus they have Jeeps. Like their enclosures, and you're in these catwalks above them, so that the lions. Now do they occasionally like let a lion out of its cage so that they can maintain their
pizzazz. Mystique? Yeah.
This is what's going to draw the crowds.
It's been a month since we had a child get eaten, so I guess it's time.
Right.
But it looked super cool. We got to the gate, and I was like, that's a nice gate.
It's like, it reminds me of that scene from Vacation.
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
And when they get to Wally World, and it's closed.
Dude, that's the worst.
Why didn't you just... You should have gone and grabbed a squirt gun, painted it black, and then come back and held a security guard ransom so that you could go do all the things.
Yeah, I don't see anything that could have gone wrong there.
Yeah, I don't either.
I'm really thinking about it. Nothing at all.
Chevy Chase made out just fine.
Yeah, he's totally cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then we went and did that sucks as a parent because you hype the kids up for the zoo.
Oh, sure.
We're going to the zoo, and the kids are on the back. Zoo, I love animals. And you're like, hey, kids, so remember that thing you were excited about? Just kidding. So we go over that same day. We find the super nice diner in Colorado Springs to eat some lunch. And then we're looking at the map. I'm like, we're literally 4 minutes from Garden of the Gods at this diner. I'm like, I finally look up. I'm like, the street we're on at this diner is called Garden of the Gods Avenue. I'm like, oh shit, it's right here. Yeah. I guess let's go over there. And you never my kids like being outside, but you never know with small children, like when they're in the mood. And you're like, they're hyped for going from like, hey, do you guys want to see giraffes to, do you guys want to look at some big ass rocks?
Don't you like these rocks?
Yeah. Wow, kids.
They're a garden. Of the gods.
Well, it was funny. So, because my kids are in a Marvel kick, so they kept calling it Guardians of the Gods because of Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yes.
So the whole time they're like, wow, I love these Guardians of the Gods. And I was like, yes, children. Yes. Glorious.
I think that they should change the name.
Yeah.
From Garden of the Gods to Guardians of the Gods.
I agree. And I will do the commercial, and I'll dress up as Star-Lord.
Okay.
I've gone through all the cosmos, and nothing's quite like the Guardians of the Gods. Wow, this rock is pretty great. Nothing like nowhere.
They should do you up in like the old man makeup and make you into like the seedy older Star-Lord who's kind of let himself go. And then you could like put on a belly so that you have the beer gut. You could
basically do like the
he's trying to fit into his armor and he's like
what is that? The Endgame Thor? but Star-Lord.
Yes. And then you're just using his blaster as like a remote.
And look over
like you hold it up.
Yeah.
And then it just changes the channel. And then you turn on the mask and you're like, man, that burrito really got to me.
And Vin Diesel's like just standing behind me dressed like a tree for no reason.
Right, yeah. Yeah. I think this is brilliant.
I like
Guardians of the Gods. Guardians of the Gods.
Now you're doing it.
Guardians of the Gods. You can have this idea for free too.
Not for free. We're going to talk.
No? Okay.
Yeah.
Never mind. TM, trademark.
Yeah, exactly. 100%. Yeah, don't even think about it. We're taking you down. But so I'd gone, last time I'd been to Guardians of the Gods, I was like 11 with my dad, right? And I don't remember, like, there was no one there when me and my dad went. You know, this was years ago. Mm-hmm. There was like no one there. I don't remember like anything but climbing a huge ass rock and thinking this is so cool. So we get there and it's just bumper to bumper cars. Oh, jeez. I'm like, I don't remember this. But you know, when you're a little kid, you don't ever remember the track. I'm going to remember that for the rest of my life, where my kids are going to remember the rocks. And I'm like, man, those guys don't know how the fucking parking lot works, you know?
F this. I'm never going back again.
Exactly.
And you realize that's probably why your dad never took you back
again. Exactly.
Just because F this, F trying to get into this parking lot.
Oh yeah, no, I actually, when we got back, I messaged him. I was like, Dad, Garden of the Gods was awesome. Like, I'm like, I don't remember there being anyone here when we went last time. And yeah, his response was, it was terrible, son.
Good thing you don't remember. It's probably because you were passed out in the back seat. Well, it took us an hour and a half to find a parking spot.
So, you know, I'm in my big ass truck, right? Cruising around. And I'm like, this isn't good. And so there's this parking lot way out where you have to walk 3 miles to get in. And I'm like, not with little kids. My kids are whiny. And so we go further in and there's a parking lot like right in the middle of the park. And I'm like, well, you know, whatever. We'll test our luck because you never know. And they repaint these parking lots all the time, Russ, right?
Right.
So there's arrows pointing which way to go in and which way to come out of every lane.
I can already see where this is going.
Not a single goddamn person knows what an arrow fucking means. The whole time we're in this parking lot is just people like reversing bobbing and weaving and reversing between cars out of the wrong side of a lane, honking, screaming, cursing. I'm like, geez, this is what movies make New York look like, you know?
Oh, God.
And so we're creeping through and like, finally there's this person in the front row that's like, yeah, I'm getting ready to leave. This spot's all yours. I'm like, yes. So we have to do that stupid thing where you're sitting in the lane with your blinker on forever. As cars are stuck behind you. I'm like, but I need this spot. Like,
yeah.
It's part of the...
I ain't moving.
It's the experience. So then the guy decides to like change his shoes and like wipe the dirt off his gear and, you know, and then like took a picture and like made sure all of his doors were closed and good and like walked around his car 3 or 4 times. I'm like, dude, there's a line of people waiting here. Like, get out. So he finally gets out and we park and, the second you get out of the car, it's just like Instagram influencers in a row at the sign with like professional photographers and lined up and like asking people to move. And like, there's like professional lighting and everything. I'm like, Jesus Christ, people, this is insane. But so then we get, and it's just, once you get in there, it was so cool. It was like a whole nother world. It's really nice to just be reminded how little you are in the world, you know?
Sure.
You get so involved in your day-to-day life, then you get somewhere there where these, you know, the rocks and everything are like, there's rows of them. They're like 50 stories tall. And you're like, wow, I literally mean nothing.
Right. Yeah.
And so, yeah, so the kids you can just climb on everything. And then like the really big rocks, you have to have a permit and climbing gear and everything. So there's people like,
oh, sure.
Way up there, which is super cool to watch. The kids loved it, but they got to like, you know, go on these hiking trails and climb up all these huge rocks and jump around and go in these little caverns and stuff. They absolutely loved it. It was super cool.
Yeah.
I almost watched another Instagram lady die. It was pretty great.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. We get to this big hiking trail that breaks off and there's this big area with it's a gorgeous area, which I understand why you take pictures there. So they had their hiking gear on to get there and they're standing in the middle of like 100 people changing their clothes. just like, and like not bothered by it. Sure. Changing into like ball gowns, you know, they're putting like fishnets on and ball gowns and all that. And I'm like, kids, take your time. Go play on that rock over there, you know?
Don't forget your wife is in the chat.
You know, I was like, kids, you need to have some respect, all right? Your mother's the only person I love, and I will never look at anyone else. As far as I'm concerned, I'm blind right now. Wink, wink. But so we're playing around in this area, right? And so this chick, it's actually pretty cool. She climbs this huge ass rock in high heels. And I'm like, for a while, I was like, that was actually kind of impressive.
Yeah.
So she's up there taking pictures, and you hear her squeal, and we turn around, and she's like, it's just this sheer cliff behind her, and she's like backwards flailing her arms.
No.
And I'm like, she's gonna die. I'm going to watch this girl die.
My kids will finally have a memory that they will never forget.
Yeah. My wife thanks you for the catch. But yeah, I was like, holy shit. But it was just like a lot of, because there's people from all over the world.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And so it's just a lot of really colorful people doing really weird things everywhere. It was a really neat experience.
That's really cool though.
Yeah.
That's really cool. I don't think I've ever actually been to Garden of the Gods. I've seen pictures. I haven't been to a lot of things like that though. Nakalula Falls in Alabama. That's about as touristy as I've gotten.
Mm-hmm. Well, hey, plan a trip where you just come up here and we'll just go look at national parks. And
that sounds great. I really, do you remember that there was a hot springs that we went to when we were in Boy Scouts?
Oh, was that on that bike trip?
No, we went to a hot springs that time, but then it was when Brother Thacker.
Oh, Glenwood.
Was it Glenwood?
Yeah.
Because we were camping. It was like a Boy Scout camp, but we didn't go to like a camp. We had a whole bunch of tents. Yeah, I think it was the same year that bear came into the camp.
Yes, it was. That was a good time.
Oh my gosh, that was just
we're all good words.
So okay,
I have to pee. Don't do it. Don't do it.
This story. Yeah.
This is all you.
Okay, so we we never went, or we did the first couple of years, but then after that, we had decided that we like to just go as a group with our Boy Scout troop to go and camp for like a week. We didn't really have we worked on a couple of merit badges, but for the most part, it was just camping for a week, chilling, talking, having fun,
making badass rope bridges.
We went streaking. Oh yeah. And so there was this one night. So we're coming back. We were fishing, and then we're coming back from fishing, and like a couple of our friends had gone into camp, and we had left this watermelon out on the picnic table,
like
with the intention of, we'll come back, we'll cut up we had a ton of food in camp, which was just, we were so dumb.
The fact this only happened once,
blows my mind. Real. Yeah. The bike trip was a lot of fun too. But anyway, so we got to that's when you guys started calling me Country Time. That. It was much better than Girl Pants.
Way better than Girl Pants.
My other nickname. Yeah, way better than Girl Pants.
Yeah.
So our two friends come running. There was like this bridge over like this. It was like a ditch, but it was a good like 15 feet deep. So they come running back across this bridge, and they're like, don't go into camp. And I think that they're trying not to freak us out, because they're not saying what's wrong in camp.
Yeah.
They're just like, don't go in.
While quivering, which is a good sign.
Yeah. I mean, they're clearly freaked out. So I think I started walking in, or like, it was like me and you or somebody was like, whatever, because they were younger than us and we were like older at the time.
I think we were the old kids. Yeah.
And so we like start to walk into camp, and I distinctly remember like seeing this bear on the picnic table, and it's like, and I just see like its rump like wiggling, and I'm like, nope. And I like turned around.
They're right. I shouldn't have come here.
Yeah, I should not have come in here. I mean, and in retrospect, I mean, it was just a little black bear, but it scared all of us to death. And so eventually we get like the park ranger, and the park ranger comes by, and he's like, all right, this guy was obviously a professional at wrangling wildlife, because he goes, all right. So he gives a rock to, he like picks up a rock and he gives it to this kid who played baseball. And he is like, all right, I want you to throw it and hit it right on the nose. And then he goes, no, wait, just throw it behind it. So the kid winds up and throws this rock. I mean, it was a full baseball pitcher throw, and pegged this bear right on the side of the nose, which then the bear freaks out.
Oh, yeah.
And it climbs up a tree. And so all you little, I feel like all I saw of this bear was just its rump hanging out of a tree or sticking up in the air as it's eating our watermelon.
It was a nice rump.
The tree is literally above all of our tents. And so, and then the park ranger's like, all right, guys, well, looks like you're good. I'll see you later. And he takes off.
Yes. I totally forgot about the park ranger.
I can't believe just this park ranger going, well, good night, guys.
Out of sight, like leaving this bear. Goodbye.
Yeah. So we all go into camp, and like at this point, it's like 10 o'clock at night. Like the bear is still chilling there. It's 10 o'clock at night, and we're like, all right, I guess we're gonna go to bed now. So we all go to bed.
Try to go to bed.
And I have never prayed. Right. I don't think any of us slept. I remember laying in the sleeping bag and hearing this kind of and then like the scratching at the tent, you know, and I'm like, I have never prayed so hard in my entire life. And I had to pee. So
don't do it. I've got to pee. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Was it you? Was it you that was in the tent with me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Of course I was.
I can't.
We were inseparable.
I know. We always shared the tent unless we were specifically forced to otherwise. And I thought I remember having to share one with another kid one time, but I think that was at a different. That was like when we went orienteering and all that jazz.
Oh yeah.
That was fun too. But anyway, that was when we built the rope bridges. But anyway,
that was a great time.
This sound, and I'm like, that was a great time. So I still have the scar across my back from falling that rope bridge too.
That was such a good fall.
Anyway, oh my gosh, I can't believe I caught my. Anyway, okay, let's finish this story.
Oh yeah.
Maybe we can talk about that one. So I'm like, and I remember distinctly praying. I was like, you know, if it's my time, then just make it quick. Like, don't let it linger. And like, I hope it kills me and not Brett.
Oh, that's
I don't know why.
Sweet. That's adorable.
I love you, man.
I love you, man. I think I was over there going, like, if this bear's hungry, please let it eat Russ and not me.
So eventually, I don't think I got any sleep that night, but eventually it sounded like the bear went away. And so I get up in the morning, and Brett and I are like, man, that was crazy. Did you hear that bear? Yeah, I heard the bear. Because neither one of us were talking to each other.
No, because we were too afraid to make any noise.
Going, oh my God.
Dude, it legitly, because I was like near the wall, it legitly nuzzled. Do you remember this? It like nuzzled into the side of my head through the tent wall. I was
yes.
Oh God, dude.
So we sit down to breakfast the next morning, and we're like, oh my gosh, guys, did you guys hear the bear? And one of the leaders just starts cracking up. He had been pretending to be the bear and was like scuffling around the campsite all freaking night long. What jerk. As all of us are like about to pee our pants and just terrified. Oh my gosh.
What an absolute legend of a man.
I mean, he was. Like, I loved that leader. He was an awesome dude. But F you, man. If you're listening to this, if you ever hear this.
If I ever get put in that situation, you bet your ass I'm doing the exact same thing. Holy shit.
So then another time, we built monkey bridges.
Yep.
So we went on another camping excursion, and the leader the plans that they did, they were always brilliant. They always kept us busy for certain.
Oh, yeah. Which was brilliant.
So they brought like all these ropes, and they're like, all right, guys, go and build a monkey bridge. So us being the overachievers that we are.
The best part of that, though, is they brought all the ropes, and then they didn't help us. They were our leaders, and they were like, hey, guys, go play over there. We're going to sit over here. Figure it out.
Busy. Yeah, they just sat there and watched us.
Like, hey, have you learned your knots? If it falls, we know you failed. Good luck.
So I swear I climbed a good 20 feet up in this tree.
Oh, yeah. It was a huge tree.
And so we climb up in it, and we start stringing the monkey bridge across. Well, we didn't have a whole lot of forethought on this. So the one tree on this side of the river is like a good 30-foot tree. I mean, it's huge.
Oh, yeah.
There are no trees anywhere near as tall on the other side of the river. So the monkey bridge ended up slanting down, which we're like, oh, it's fine.
It's great. It'll end up like a slide. It'll be fun.
None of us thinking that ropes stretch. And when they do that, eventually you have enough weight on the rope that this side becomes this kind of angle instead of being like a gradual slope.
For our audio listeners, Russ has a very steep angle drawn.
Yeah. It's like a 90-degree angle, And so we hadn't trimmed, like we had trimmed some branches away, but there was this really long branch that went alongside the side of the monkey bridge. Well, we're having fun. We've climbed up there. There's a bunch of people that are on the monkey bridge, and they're having fun trying to knock each other off into the river because
we're smart.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, like the river was only like a foot deep. Like you fall into this river, you die. It's not like it was like, oh, you fall in.
A foot deep, full of rocks. Oh yeah.
Yeah. And so everybody's bouncing up and down. Well, I'm coming down, and we had trimmed all these branches off, so there was this huge pile, and like there was all this shrubbery underneath the tree. So there's this pile of ice. I remember it like this. I'm pretty sure it wasn't like this, but there were like branches that were sticking up like spikes and a big thorn bush beneath it. And there was this big long branch that ran along the side because we were like, we won't trim it off. It'll be fine.
Yeah, what's the work? That's too much work.
So I'm coming on, and it was real misty. And like it had been overnight. And so now I'm coming onto this monkey bridge as everybody else is like in the middle, bouncing it up and down. And as I'm coming, the rope's slick, and I take a couple of bounces. I'm like, oh, okay. I go to take another step, and whew, and I'm a good 20 feet in the air above all these branches and thorns. And I swear I would have died, but I grab onto two ropes, and luckily my legs, as I'm falling, catch on one of the guards that we had put.
Oh, and you got such bad burn right there?
Well, yeah, on my hands and like under my legs. And then, but what happened was this branch was running along the side, so I fell and broke this branch over my back.
Oh, I forgot.
And it had all these like, because we had trimmed some of it, but we hadn't trimmed like the branch itself. And I mean, like it was probably a good, like this.
Oh yeah, it's a sturdy branch.
And I come down, and I'm like, okay. I was more concerned that I because you do that check, you go, okay, I'm not dead. And everybody's still bouncing, and
we're giggling, laughing.
And I think it was Danny who was like, hey, guys, stop. So I like get up, and I'm like shaking as I'm climbing back down the tree because I just saw my life flash before my eyes, and it wasn't very eventful. And I get down off of the tree, and Brett's like, hey man, your shirt's bloody. Like, what's going on there? And like I lift up and I have this scar that runs across one hip up almost to the shoulder blade from where the branch just cut me open on my back. It was a pretty gnarly scar. I was pretty proud of it. You know, it didn't hurt too bad. You know, it didn't require stitches or anything like that, but it was a nice little reminder of our time together.
Yeah, that was sweet. Do you remember? We're just going down this lane now. Do you remember that when we did that scouting, we did that paintball camping trip, and I stepped on that log and the stick went through my foot. Do you remember that?
Yes, I do.
So we had, again, brilliant idea from our leaders. It's still pretty cold.
Oh gosh, I remember this. Oh my gosh.
It's still pretty cold. They're like, hey, we're going to go up in the mountains and play paintball and do a camping trip. And you had that, what was that, French foreign exchange student dude at the time? Remember that guy? Yeah.
Yes,
yeah, I just saw a bunch of horrible memories flood through your mind.
He was, yeah.
He smelled terrible all the time.
He wore diapers.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. He smelled terrible all the time. So go up and I
wanted a hot foreign exchange student.
I know.
Like, oh, this will be fun.
When you hear you're getting a French foreign exchange student as a teenage boy, your mind wanders. And then you get this like 8 foot tall, 700-pound dude wears diapers.
And I went on one of the excursions with him, and it was really fun. And I like met this girl who was really cool.
Oh, that's right. Could have been her.
Could have been.
Could have been her in that basement, man.
Things that could have been.
Because your mom had no idea what happened down there.
I mean, obviously nothing would have happened like that, but you know,
well, speak for yourself.
I think I would have had more fun if it was a girl, because I probably would have reached out a lot more and been like, hey, let's have fun and do this and do that.
No, that's a good point. He was also just very boring, period.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, and that's not the point of the story, but yeah, that happened. That was an interesting couple weeks of our teenage years.
Anyway, yeah.
But yeah, so we go up there to do this paintballing thing, and like no one has paintball guns, so we're all like trying to scrounge something, anything up.
Luckily, your father-in-law, John, didn't he had like some like handgun, like
they were like
from like
air compressor. Oh yeah, from
80s.
Like oh yeah.
Gosh.
And this is before but this is before me and Lisa were even dating. So he wasn't even, and we were just really good friends at the time. But because he brought some stuff. I had a family friend that happened to be really into paintballing, like again in like the early 90s, and had a ton of super old shit that hadn't opened from a box in forever. So I go up there with this old gun that's never been used, with a box of paintballs that are probably expired. I don't know if paintballs expire, but they're from like 92, right?
Yeah.
And so we camp, and all the paintballs are outside, and then we wake up in the morning, we're like, let's go paintballing. And if you recall, none of them splattered because they were all frozen. So we're just blasting frozen giant fucking paint BBs at each other.
It was the worst.
Bark is flying off trees as we're shooting around.
It looked like a war movie.
Exactly.
It looked like that scene from Sherlock Holmes.
When
where they're like
the
running through the forest and it's like exploding. Yeah. And I remember specifically we had this friend called Beans.
Yes, good old Beans.
He had like the full ghillie suit.
Yeah.
Like he took it seriously, and he was good. And it was terrifying because you'd be like, and then you just hear it hitting around you, and you're like, and then you just hear Beans cackling as he's like, ah! Yes.
Oh my God, so good. But yeah, we're just shooting frozen paintballs at each other. I only had one splatter all day, and it was actually from my future father-in-law. He was at the bottom of this hill, and I had the gun, surprise, from the early 90s had broken down on me after shooting like four paintballs, right?
Yeah.
So I had one of those, like it had like a CO2, the little teeny cartridge that like went in the handguard. It was like a pump action little shotgun that fired like one little paintball at it and would just lob them. So I'm like I'm trying to figure out this like, arc shooting downhill, boom, trying to spray him. And he starts shooting up. His kids were super into paintball, so he had really good stuff at the time. So he's shooting frozen paintballs at like 1,000,000 miles an hour. I'm hearing them going past my ear, and I'm, oh shit, And I dive down behind this log, and I still remember I poked up like just the smallest corner of my eye, splatters all over my goggles, and I'm like, oh, yep, I'm dead. Oh, dude, so good. But so we finish, and we're like getting ready to leave, and I'd gotten these brand new the DC skate shoes. They were like,
oh yeah,
like woodland camouflage with black soles on the bottom. They were smooth, brand new shoes.
They were, and I remember that because your old shoes, you had like Vans or something, and they had like worn
completely. Oh yeah, I did not get shoes very often, so I was like so pumped for these shoes. So I'm walking out, and I step on over a big log, and onto a smaller log, and there's this thick little nub sticking out this log, and I step down, and it's like I knew something was wrong, but it didn't hurt at first. I couldn't move my foot for a second, and I'm like, huh, that's not normal. And look down, and yeah, my foot's on this log, and there's a bit of this branch coming out the top of my shoe. And I go, that's really not good. And so I work, and then it starts to hurt because a branch just went through my fucking foot. And I get my foot unstuck, and it's just like starts bleeding, and my shoe. I was more upset about the shoe than my foot having a giant hole through it.
I know. I remember talking to you about this and being like, man, I just got these effing shoes. You gotta be kidding me.
I'm sitting there with blood pouring out of my foot with a huge hole in it, and I'm sitting there going, man, this is a brand new shoe.
That was also the year that I almost got killed by a falling tree.
Yes, that's right.
Because it was a thing that we did every year. We'd go up to this person's property, we'd clear out trees, and then we'd play paintball. And it was like a father-son's thing. And so I'm up there working with, one of the leaders, and he has like this chainsaw, and, they're cutting it. And at the same time, because we're trying to drag these trees away, we're hooking up some ropes to them to kind of like pull them down the hill.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, I see a shadow. I remember tying, and like all of a sudden I see this shadow, and I'm like, that's not right. And I hear behind me, run! And I look, and I don't even look up. I shut, because there was another leader working beside me, and I shoved him, and I was like, and I just started booking it in the direction I'm hoping, away from the tree or to the side or something. And about that time, and it was just, I was like, and I just remember being like, just standing there and like turning around, like, white as the sheet. And the leader, like, we're both moved over to the side from this tree. And we called each other DDB, Death Defying Buddy.
That's right. Oh, how sweet was that? Yeah,
that was very sweet.
I think that was the same trip.
I'm pretty sure it was. I mean,
because we were leaving the paintball thing
like every year, but
yeah, because I remember we were leaving that one, and you were in a different truck, and I was trying to get with you because I know you just almost died. I was in, was it Thacker's? He had a brand new, like, bronze Ford F-150. Had the extended cab with the long bed, gorgeous truck. And we had it was like blue spruces that were all, when the dead, all the pine needles are brown, and anything that touches it. I remember him reversing his brand new truck. He wasn't used to how long it was. You remember this? And he rams into a tree, and like every pine needle in a mile's radius just goes whoosh on the ground.
Whoosh.
And we're in this truck, and you can't even see out the windshield or the side of the truck. It's just pine needles everywhere.
The funniest thing of that was he had just gotten the truck back because he had hit a deer.
Yeah,
do you remember
right.
that?
Yes.
He had just gotten this truck back from the repair,
shop,
body shop, because he had hit a deer and tore off the front end. Oh my gosh.
Holy crap, dude. you remember? Remember we did this awesome, huge mountain biking trip, and you brought a bike without shocks.
Oh my gosh. Okay. It was the only bike I could afford.
That's true.
It wasn't like I was like, hey, this will be a good one for a bike ride. It was like, crap. This is what I got. Only bike I got. This is what I got. And so I remember, I think Mom had looked something up and she's like, okay, you want to get gloves because then, you can kind of, oh my gosh, it was awful. Like, it was just, and I remember everybody being like, and especially going downhill, they were like, oh, this is great. This is fantastic. And I was like, F you guys. Yeah. Because I had to stand up the entire time.
And your arms were absorbing all of it. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Well, so the premise of the trip, it was a super cool trip minus Russell.
It was fun. It was a lot of fun.
So we had, a guy, we had someone with all the camping equipment, someone with his big trailer. We'd put all the bikes in when we were overnight and whatnot. And basically, we were way back in the mountains, and we'd get on our bikes, a couple of leaders and all the scouts, right? And we'd ride like half a day, whoosh. Mm-hmm. And then everyone else would drive ahead to the camping spot, and wherever they decided to set up camp, we had to ride until we got there. Whatever the trail was, wherever that wound up going, super cool. But yeah, with Russ, without shocks, there was a lot of very steep hills with rocks everywhere. I remember at one point finally going, Russ, dude, just take my bike.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that. You are like, here, let me lend this to you, enjoy it.
Yeah.
Like, at least
enjoy this hill.
And it was fun. Like, going downhill was fine. It was trying to go uphill.
And trying to fighting everything
over those rocks as you're inching along, and you're like, this is the worst. But that was such a fun trip.
We have some great pictures from that trip, man. Beautiful country. And it was like, we didn't have any of the young guys with us. Like, none of them could come. It was all of us.
Mm-hmm. It was 14 and up.
Yeah. And it was, but even I think there's like one kid that was like, all of us were like the people that have been through the program for a long time.
Yeah.
So it was just like, it was a great trip with all of us that are around the same age that have been together forever.
Yeah.
And yeah, those hills, the most fun I had was when I went down that hill on your bike, because without shocks, I could like slide around corners.
Yeah.
So I would just like, boom, and lean and just like Tokyo drift my way around this hill. And I was like, whoa.
And I remember that day because it was like almost the whole day was just, we had gotten up to the top of the pass, and then we're coming around, and I think it was like one of the last days.
Mm-hmm.
And then we got to the bottom, and there was this beautiful camping spot with like these green rolling hills. It was right by a creek.
Gorgeous.
Oh my gosh, it was so pretty.
Beautiful meadow. Yeah, it had this drop off the back of camp. Mm-hmm. Like went down this gorgeous ravine up to another mountainside. It'd get all foggy in the morning, and dude, beautiful. But yeah, that last day, man, because we'd get to the top of that hill, we'd come down, and then someone would just throw all our bikes in the back of a truck, and we had. They wouldn't, probably allow it now, but we'd all hold on to the side, just like with our arm through the window, holding onto an oh shit handle,
Yeah.
And just leaning on the side of this truck up the mountain, and then ride back down, and then hold on and ride down. And yeah, dude, that was a great time.
That was good. I remember the one guy who biffed it
hard. Right over his whole
we were
face,
going so
dude.
fat. Oh man.
Oh,
needless to say, he rode in the truck the rest of the trip.
Holy shit, that was good.
That was a great trip. It was a great trip. I distinctly remember us leaning back in our tent. You're reading a note that Lisa had written you.
Oh yeah, we were older. Yeah, we were started dating. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that was our last. I think that was our last trip.
Damn, that's depressing.
I think that was
I think you're right.
The last summer. Yeah, because you and Lisa started dating junior year.
Junior year, yeah.
Yeah, and then I think this was going into our senior year. Yeah, and I just remember leaning back, the lights coming through, you're giggling at the letter that she's writing you. I'm reading a book. Oh man, those were good times.
Crickets are chirping. There's like a light breeze hitting that fabric. Yeah, you did have your air match. Well, because they said we weren't packing it up. we packing. What the fuck is that? We weren't backpacking our way in there. And you were like, hell yeah, I'm bringing my air mattress. And we all made fun of you until you set it up. And we're like, all right, that actually looks pretty nice.
Oh, it was great. I slept so great.
Oh, dude. Yeah. Yeah, dude. Just, there's that light, you know, the fabric of a tent, you know, when a breeze picks up, it makes that nice flapping sound. Oh. There's like a light drizzle, little breeze, little, yeah, you know, yeah, me and Russell, but, yeah, dude, that was one of the best camping trips I've ever had, man.
Yeah. We had some really good ones. I think that's what we've talked about almost this entire podcast.
That's the show. Yeah. Yeah. We had,
I mean, it was, yeah. Go ahead.
Were you there for the rappelling trip? We had to get our rappelling merit badges. Were you there for that one? I can't remember if you were there.
I was, but I can't. I vaguely. I think it was like the first one, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it was. It was early on.
It was a really early trip. The girls were with us too.
No, well, there was one we did with girls, but there was the one where we did like the big rappel. It was just. I don't know if you were there for that. Were you there for that?
I don't know. What's that? That was after the guy. There was like a paratrooper in the Air Force, wasn't it?
Yeah. I'm trying to remember if you were there or not. I don't think you were.
Yeah, well, because he got there after I did.
Yeah.
I was there. When was that? I think no. Was that the biking? That wasn't the biking.
That wasn't the biking one. No, this was we just went up. It was like a pretty simple, like we were camping like right on the side of a road in a park. It was still up in the Mountain National Park and whatnot. We played like a bunch of night games and went up, and they took us up this huge fucking rock. And like
we played Martians all night long.
All night.
Yes, I do remember that one.
Okay, so you were there.
I do remember that one. There was like a shed over kind of nearby the campsite.
Yeah.
There were like a bunch of trees, and we were hiding, and then people were changing shirts to
fool everyone.
Yeah.
We were trying to copy each other's walk or run, like as they'd run away. So I think I survived. There's like those little teeny ravines on either side of the road, you know, for drainage. And I think I'd like put on all black and just like stretched my arms and legs out and just laid in that ditch in the shadows and didn't get found forever.
Because that's the one where I got that there was like a tree that was dead that like was sticking up out of the ground, and I pulled it loose and like the root system came up with it. That's right. Where I got that stick.
That's right. That was a good stick.
It looked like a wizard staff.
That was a good time. Yeah, but so
that was a good time.
We had it was this like when I say rock, it was basically a mountain that was just a rock, right? Huge rock. Like Guardians of the Gods, you know. Rock. And so they'd give us like a very quick rundown of how to rappel. Like insanely quick. And then got us to the top and they went, "You want to earn that badge?"
Yeah, it was.
And it wasn't like, you know, you're at the top and you know, angle yourself and go down the rock. It was like this lip.
It was straight
there was
off.
There was an overhang first.
Oh, that's right.
There was the overhang that when caved in, and then it was a straight down drop.
Because I don't ever remember touching the wall. I just remember being like, okay,
just floating the whole way
this kind
down.
of rappelling.
Yeah. And so you're looking over the edge, you're like, no, I've never done. No, because it was like that. Here's a quick rundown. Here's the knot. You have to tie your knot and trust it as you go down. And I'm like, I don't trust myself. Are you kidding me? I'm a child.
Well, and it was that initial lip as you're trying to come over the edge and sit back at the same time. It was.
Yeah, I remember that backfired on them because of that overhang. We all just like were lowered to the ground because you couldn't even touch the wall. And we're like, well, we did it. Give me the badge, buddy boy.
I do remember that one. I had forgotten about that one. What I remember is playing Martians, and it was
because that was the best part of the trip.
About the rappelling.
Oh yeah,
that was always the best part of the trip. Was the night games that we would play.
God,
just
so
all
good
night long. I actually introduced some people here to Martians.
Oh, how'd they like it
recently? They loved it. Actually,
do you actually want to give a rundown of how Martians is played? Maybe people here don't know.
Okay, so what you would do is you would have a couple of people with flashlights. Everybody else is running around in the dark, and you usually pick a field. And it was best if you had like trees and stuff, because then it made it a little bit more difficult. But what you would basically do is you would run around this field, and the people with flashlights would have to point it at you and then say your name. And that was the rule. And then you had to freeze. Somebody else could come and untag you who is unfrozen, but that was basically the rules
The premise,
of the game. And it doesn't sound like it would be that much fun, but you have, 3 or 4, usually we had 2 or 3 people that were the Martians, and usually it was the leaders.
Because they didn't want to run.
Well, yeah, and they were good sports about it. And so it was a game that just went on forever, because it was very rare that you would get like everybody out at one time. At a certain point you'd just be like, all right, let's start a new round. And you would either try and hide or like run away from them as they're finding you, so that you could like, because they have to have the flashlight on you, and then they have to say your name. So we would like change shirts,
give each other, change coats out. Yeah. Oh yeah.
So that they'd be calling the wrong name as you're like booking it away.
Don't cheat. And they'd call us cheaters all the time. I know it's you, and then later on we'd be like, wrong coat.
Yeah. But it got crazy, because you'd be like up in a tree hiding, or you'd be like holding on to the bottom of a truck, like raised up, so that if they looked under the truck, they couldn't find you. I mean, like you would just find like these crazy hiding spots, just to see how long you could stay hidden while they're looking for you.
I legitly had Beans was hiding in a tree, and I didn't know this. And I'd gotten frozen at the base of a tree. And I'm like, shit, I need to get untagged. All of a sudden, a hand touches the top of my head, and he goes, "You'll free my son." And I like freak out and look up. He's like hanging upside down off of a branch. And I go take off running, and he just goes whoop, and back up into the tree. I'm like, holy shit.
Dude, that kid was nuts.
He was out of control, man. Him. Beans was the best, dude.
Out of control.
Be free, my son.
And remember, we would used to just hang out in my basement. Sorry, this is the Reminiscence podcast. This is where Brett and I talk about our lives together. And
it's just
some of the fun times.
It's a nonstop life story time.
It's fun for us. Maybe not for you guys, but it's fun for us.
That's cool.
We used to just hang out in the basement. So my basement, like we had like this full finished basement. My room was down there. We had like a big screen TV down there.
Snack
and
bar.
We would like line up
back
the
room.
Couches. Yeah. We'd line up the couches and like jump over them. And then there was one time where we had gotten what are they called? Sock'em boppers.
Can I tell the sock'em bopper story?
Yes, please.
Because it's one of my favorite stories ever. This was like one of the peaks of my childhood, man. My teenage years. So yeah, we're like, what were we like? 15, 16? I think we were like 16. Because someone had their license.
Yeah.
We were all like freshly
Michael
16.
had his license.
Michael had his license. And we're like bored. We played all the video games. We jumped over the couches. We got to the point where we lined ourselves up on the floor and we're jumping over each other. Which was not smart.
That was actually another night. That was a later night. This one, I think it was just me, you, him, and I think Beans was there.
Danny, I remember Danny was there too, because Danny freaked at the end of this story. It was the only time Danny came. This is the first and last time Danny came.
It was the big night where we had everybody.
A shit ton of people there. Yeah. So we're like, all right, we're going to go to Walmart. And so we sneak out the back door. Cause it's the door in the basement went to the backyard, up that stupid incline you had to get to the front yard. so steep. Not just a ridiculous,
luckily it was in the summer and there wasn't like a bunch of snow that we had to
But even in the summer, you're like hands and knees crawling up the side of your house.
It got so slippery.
Oh my God. But so we all pile in this tiny little car and go up to Walmart. You know, and I can't remember. So, you know, we're all fresh to 16. We're all like freaking out about some curfew if you're under 18, and someone's all, like,
yeah, because Colorado.
Yeah, everyone's like, just pretend you're older and walk confidently. And then, I can't do that. I don't know, guys. I'm going to jail. You know, it was, yeah. You know how that goes.
I think that was Danny.
Yeah, Danny was freaking. That. Every time we did anything that was like not in a rule book, he was like, guys, I don't know about this. He was that kid.
Yeah.
So we go, we get those, the sock and boppers. Yeah, the little. Is that sock and boppers, or is that? Am I thinking of the little robots?
No, those are Rock'em Sock'em robots.
You're right. Sock and bop. Yeah, sock and boppers. Sock and boppers.
More fun than a pillow fight.
So they're these inflatable.
And that was the intention.
Yeah,
we're gonna have rounds of boxing matches with these sock and boppers so that we don't hurt each other.
Exactly. We were gonna box. We're gonna do our own Fight Club, right? First rule of Fight Club. I'm breaking it now. We're talking about it. Yeah. So yes, we buy these socks, you know, a couple of them. Good thing
my mom doesn't listen to this.
I know. So this is the one episode she's gonna go, I wonder what
that Russell's podcast is about.
Right. But yeah, so we get back to your house, you know, and we blow these sock and boppers up, right? And it's the first round. That's how fast this was done. First round, it was me and Michael Moores, the poor kid that drove us there, had his car, everything. First round, we go up. So the thing to remember about sock and boppers is they're designed for ages like 6 to 9.
Yeah.
We're 16-year-old kids. I had taken a weightlifting class because I wanted an easy credit. And I actually got really in. I was actually like pretty built for a while there.
You were. Yeah.
And Michael was in football and he was working out all the time. So we're, you know, pretty jacked in this basement at 2 a.m. and using boxing gloves for children. So I connect to the side of his head. You just hear this. And then he's on the floor. And I look down and there's just this shriveled purple balloon mess on my hand. And I'm like, oh shit. I connected with the side of his head so hard. The sock and bopper popped and my fist connected with his temple. Boom. Down to the ground he went. Over. Done.
Oh gosh.
So Danny freaks out, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's all like, let's make a blood oath and cutting his hand, you know, and everything. Like, we won't tell a soul.
Yeah, we will never tell about this.
So my favorite part of the whole thing, who cares if he's got a concussion, right? None of us are doctors or nurses. We propped his head up on, we put him on a bean, we dragged him to a bean bag, put a blanket on him. And when he woke up in the morning, we're like, yeah, dude, you fell asleep before everybody. To this day, I don't think he still knows that's what happened.
I wouldn't doubt it. It was, well, and then, I mean, like, that was early on in the night, too.
No, that was like, it was like 1 a.m.
Was it?
Yeah.
I just remember, oh yeah, because we had already jumped over everybody.
Yeah.
We had already duct taped up one of the smaller kids, and gosh.
So much fun in that basement, dude.
So much.
Those are the glory days, my man. But yeah, the fact he woke up, we're like, do you remember last night? He goes, no, what happened? Yeah, you fell asleep, dude. It's just over.
We even like drew stuff on his face or something like that.
I think it was probably Beans. Beans probably drew something on his face.
Yeah, Beans always did that kind of stuff.
Beans fell out of a tree and just went, here you are, my son, and then disappeared again. Yeah, dude, that's one of them. Oh, God. Man, we had some great. Do you remember the Halo tournament we had in your basement?
Yes, we had the 2 TVs that we hooked up.
Yeah,
and then we just played Halo all night.
That was another night we had like everyone there. The fact that your mom still has no idea, like we were blasting music in that basement, and she
was fine with that.
Yeah,
she just wasn't fine with us moving
furniture and doing all that stuff,
possibly breaking it as we're landing.
I mean, it's still like midnight. She's teaching the next day, and we're like blasting music. You had the bar set up there. We had like bowls of every kind of snack. We had soda lined up. Man, this shit was hopping. And we had the 2 TVs set up. And I remember there's one point, I don't know why, but we had like someone on a team on one TV and someone on the other instead of putting them both on the same. And so I remember Miguel was like, stop screen peeking. And so if you remember, he actually taped that sheet to the middle of the TV. So he's underneath the sheet looking at the bottom. So the person looking at the top can't look at his screen. And so there's a picture somewhere of this.
Yep.
With Halo on one TV, with us standing around it, bunch of people with, the red Solo cups with soda and whatnot. And then there's just a sheet with a person underneath it. It's a great picture, man.
Gosh, we had some good times.
Yeah.
That was the party. That was the party. We always, me and you were together. We worked together. We went to school together. We went to church together.
We was in your basement, or you were at our house every day, every night.
Almost 24/7.
Yeah.
When you and Lisa started dating, of course, you guys went on dates by yourselves and stuff like that. But
yeah, and you fucking abandoned me, so don't even.
I didn't have a girlfriend. You did.
Yeah, I still hung out with you. You just straight up went, well, we're graduated. Good luck in life. And just away.
Went off into that great sunset in the sky.
Yeah, going up to the sky.
Yeah, I know. I wish there's part of me. I probably wouldn't have ended up here with Lindsay or anything if I hadn't. But
yeah, no,
we probably could have moved out and lived together.
Dude, that'd have been so much fun.
That probably would have been a better decision than moving to Alabama.
Yeah, but that's the thing.
Not that moving to Alabama was bad, but
that's a fun thing I do all the time is like look back and try to figure out if I get bored or I can't sleep, which happens a lot. I'll look at like one part of my life and I'm like the smallest thing. I'm like, if I just did that differently, how would that change the rest of my life? And I'll sit there and like think of like every single thing that happened because of one decision. And that's really fun to do. And it brings that whole like, if you could go back and change one thing, I'm like, I wouldn't. Because like, I don't know what that would happen, like how that would change things, Yep.
Yeah, I think the only times we weren't together were when we were dating, not each other.
Yeah. Well, we basically were.
We were basically dating. Like it was to the point to where people would be like, Russell's here. Where's Brett?
Yeah. Oh, I think.
Brett. Where's Russell?
Yeah, Russell's here. Where's Brett? Oh, he's working my shift at Party America.
That one time. Oh.
So there's this awesome gathering. Okay. Yeah, well, we have to now. There's this big gathering. We're all excited to go to it, right? I ask for the time off like a responsible kid from work, and Russell decides he's just going to call off the day of.
Okay, in my defense, what had happened is I had spent like all day, because I used to spend a lot of time over at the Davises.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was at the Davises, and they were like, you should just call in. You should just call in. And so finally, as it was getting closer, I was like, I really don't want to go in. All right, I'll just call in. So I faked being sick.
Yeah. So work calls me, because there was like 4 of us that worked there. Like it wasn't like Walmart or something where someone calls off. You're like, that's all right. We still have 900 people here.
Which I should have thought about in advance. This shows my forethought.
Yeah. So they call me and they're like, hey, Russell's sick. And I immediately go, fuck. And because I can't say no, because I'm like, I'm at a job, like I can't say no. And I'm sure if the tables were turned, not saying you're terrible for calling off, but like if I had done that and they'd called you, you probably would have gone into work. Like we're the same that way. It just happened to be this way.
Right.
And so they call and like, they're like, I know you asked for it off. Is there any way? And I was like, yeah, I think I can swing that. And I was like, shit. And so I go in to work Russell's shift and get off and go over here. And so the thing Russell decided to do.
Yeah, it was not great.
It wasn't great. So Russell's reaction to all this happening was to tell everyone, Brett probably hates me. The second he gets here, tell him to not to. And then Russell hid.
Okay, in my defense, that was not actually my plan. So what had happened was somehow.
What was the plan? I've never heard this actually.
No. So somebody because I had found out that you were going to have to work the shift before you had gotten there.
Mm-hmm.
Like somehow I can't remember how, somehow somebody knew, and they were like, "Oh yeah, Brett got called in to cover your shift." And
I think it was
like,
probably Lisa.
I think it was because I think Lisa
you saw
got there
her.
early.
Yeah, you saw her, and you're like, "Hey, where's Brett?" Oh, he had to go. He got called into work.
And I was like, "Ah, frick!" And I think it was Kelsey or maybe it was Mason. They were like, "Oh, he's gonna be so mad," and I'm like, "Yeah, he probably is." They're like, "You should hide." I was like, "You know what? That sounds like a great idea."
So they told you to call off and told you to hide? These people suck.
At least that's the way I remember it. It could have been my own idea. I didn't tell people to tell you not to be mad at me though.
Okay.
I may have been like, I think what I was trying to do is like when you walked in, I was trying to give you some space. Because usually, because when I learned this very quickly. When you're mad, it's like just give him some space,
and I'll work through it, and then I'm good,
and then he'll be good. Yeah, yeah. And so, or like sometimes I give you a little bit of space and then say you're sorry. Is usually what I found out, but I can't say I'm sorry immediately because you'll be like, no, I don't want to talk right now.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
This is fun.
I remember that one. Yeah. So it was like, I think I'll just give him, I think I had said, like, I'm just going to give him some space. And I think some people took it upon themselves. I think it was Becca. If I remember correctly, I think it was Becca who came up to you and was like, hey, don't be mad at Russell.
No, so what happened is, so I'd had my time and I was like, it happens. Like, he wanted to be there. He called off. Like, I wasn't mad about that. And so I'd already had my time. The thing that made me mad was when I got, because I was like, I was just going to give you a hard time when I got there. Yeah. This is like, man, how was work tonight? And just like wink, you know? And so I walk in the door and like 4 or 5 people immediately like walked up to me. Dude, I know you're mad. Don't be mad. I hate when people say don't be mad. Oh, that drives me nuts. Triggers me. So I had like 4 or 5 people walk up like, hey, don't be mad. You know, he's really scared of you right now and hiding. This is what they legitimately told me. And I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with this kid? That's what made me mad. As I was like, are you serious, Russell? You're going to do this and then be scared and run? So they're like, Brett, just don't. I'm like, I just want to enjoy being here. And they like wouldn't leave me alone. Don't be mad. He didn't think it would be you. Like, I know, but leave me alone.
Well, I think it was because there were some people in our friends group who enjoyed drama.
Oh yeah, and to an extreme degree.
I think it was that because I don't remember being like worried like, oh no, Brett's gonna kill me. I mean, I remember being like,
like, oh yeah, like you felt bad, man. But you weren't like
yeah. And I remember being like, I don't know how he's gonna react when I get here, so I'll just give him some time, or at least that's what I remember in my head. But yeah. And then that was that was fun. And then I think we made up over Rock Band or Guitar.
Oh yeah, we played Rock Band. Yeah. Rock Band cures all, man.
It does.
But yeah, I just like I wasn't even mad. It was just the fact that like everyone swarmed me and was like, he's terrified and hiding, and I'm like, why? But it's just man, that drove me nuts when people do that. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember telling anybody that, and I don't remember being like, "Oh, I'm gonna hide from Brett," as much as like, "Oh man, I feel really effing bad."
Like, and that's what like when I first heard it, I was like, "That doesn't sound like Russ. Like Russ knows me. Why would he try to hide?" So it was like he called off, and now he's being a bitch about it. Like that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I think I might have made a joke about, "Oh man, when he gets here, I should probably hide." I don't remember. I mean, that was so long ago. I do remember calling off. I remember feeling really crappy about it. And I remember being like, God dang it.
But you always asked for time off past that. It was one of those life lessons you got to learn. You do something like that once, and then you think about it the rest of your life.
Because I knew that anytime I called off, you were going to get called in. And I was like, man, I can't do that to him again.
Dude, to this day, because of that night, if I want to call off work, I'm always like, shit, it's going to screw so-and-so over. Like, I think of that night every time I go to call off.
I do too.
It sticks with you.
It does. Party City was fun, though.
Oh, God.
Working.
Dude.
I mean, I feel like we had a lot of shifts together.
We did.
We also didn't have a lot of shifts together. I feel like later on we didn't have as many shifts together. Lee couldn't stand us when we were together.
Oh God, I don't ever want to hear her name again.
Ron, I think, was fine,
dude.
with us working together.
Ron was like one of the best managers I've ever had in my life.
He was awesome.
Unless you're trying to get an interview, then it was. Did you have that same thing?
I think I remember us talking about this. I don't think I interviewed with Ron. I interviewed with Lee.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, because you came on a little later. So I'd applied.
Yeah.
And he was like, I'd really like to cut your G, and slap me on the back of the head. And set up a time to come in. And I show up, and everyone's like, what? I'm like, oh, I'm here for an interview. Ron's gone. He went home. Okay. And so, like, I'd called the next day, and he's like, oh, yeah, I'm really sorry about that. Totally forgot. This happened like 4 or 5 times, where I'd go in, and they'd be like, yeah, he's gone. Oh, I forgot about your interview. I'm sorry, buddy. And I just kept trying. I don't know why. Oh, it's because no one else would hire me. Right. This is his first job.
Yep.
And yeah, finally got in and got hired. And then he was like, I had such low expectations of him when I got hired because of that, and immediately dropped that because he was just the best.
He was awesome. He was awesome. I got hired because you started working there a few months before I did. And I was like, I'm going to try and get, I think I was like, I'm going to try and get a job where Brett is. Or you would like, I think you had told me to, anyway, I ended up applying there, and they hired me as a temporary person at Halloween. I was like, I really hope they keep me.
Oh, I forgot you were. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. You were a Halloween temp.
And then they kept me around after that.
Do you remember I distinctly remember. Let's see if you remember this. You're a good looking dude. You always have been. You're an attractive man.
I was a lot thinner in high school.
You're still very good looking. You've always been a very attractive guy.
Well, thank you.
I'm just going to throw that out there. Thanks. Well, not nearly as much, but the beard hides half of it, which is nice. So I just need to remember, like, this happened like 3 or 4 times. Some teenage girl would come in to try on a Halloween costume, and she'd specifically ask, can that one tall, cute guy come look and tell me if it looks good? Do you not remember this?
No, I think I remember. I remember being called over. But I mean, there was so much running around.
Oh, dude.
I don't think there was any
hysterically every time. Can that tall, cute guy come look? And what do you think? Does this look nice? And you'd get beat red and just freeze. It was so funny.
God, I remember running back and forth, and I remember like grabbing costumes out of the back and running them forward because we had the posters up against the wall.
Oh yeah.
And there was like, okay, these are the costumes. And so I just remember having to run back and forth because there were like 2 people over back by the thing to help people, and then to call for, okay, these people are going to come over and they're going to, hey, get out this number, because it was all in boxes and the numbers, and then you'd have to go and pull that costume. And then I remember volunteering to dress, because there was this really cool costume with like this, it had like a top hat and it had like these hunched shoulders, and I was like, I really want to wear this costume. How about I just go stand out front with a sign? And they were like, yeah, okay. And I was like, cool. So I put on the costume and went outside with the sign. And like, you had to guide me around because I could not see.
You couldn't see a thing, dude.
Out of it.
That was so fun. It was
the Grim Reaper, but then I tried out, there was another costume too that was just, ugh.
Well, it was cool because at the time we were working at Party America, and Party City, who then bought Party America, was across the street. And so you'd be out there flipping a sign while the Party City guy was also dressed up flipping a sign. And we're always like, man, it'd be fun if we just went over there and fought them.
Yeah. Oh gosh, I do remember that.
Just get in the crosswalk, have an epic sword duel, and just leave.
Yeah.
That'd been fun. But yeah, when I first got, because I stayed there for a while so Party America closed. It's an appliance store over there now. And Party City bought them, and I got transferred over to that store. And my first time there was actually doing what you did, was the Halloween in the back.
Really?
And so I finally got to experience that. And yeah, dude, that was a rush. Your shift was over so fast.
I was so quick.
Yeah. You'd show up and it was just like, all right, boom, walkie-talkie vest. Here you go. Don't like that? That's fine. Next, go. Boom, boom, boom. Oh, I got to go home. All right, sick. Dude, oh, yeah, those are great shifts.
The shifts with Karen, the shifts with Karen were the best because she cared, like, hey, do your stuff. But a lot of times there wasn't like anybody in the store.
Oh, yeah.
So you're just like, you're messing around. You're shooting things at each other
We
from
made
across the thing.
the staircase out of helium tanks.
Yeah.
And then fell.
Yeah.
That was good.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I love Lee got pissed when do you remember when Karen left? And we had, because it's Party America, so we had all the banners with the individual letters and huge letters stretching across the whole inside of the store. She had this big banner that was like, "I'm out, bitches," written out.
She left after I did.
Oh, okay. Okay, so that was after you then. Yeah, so when she left, because she's a legend, she put this big banner through the whole store that said, "I'm out, bitches." And Lee got pissed when she came into work the next day.
Karen was so funny.
Karen was the best.
She was so awesome. So awesome. And then Caitlin worked with us for a while.
Yeah, good old Caitlin. Good old Caitlin, Russ.
I mean, I had a big crush on her.
Who didn't? She was amazing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There's one night Lisa came and picked me up from work, and I was like, "Man, I wish we weren't dating. Caitlin's perfect."
How well did that go over?
Well, I didn't actually do that. So
still have the footprint on your ass.
Yeah. This is actually a prosthetic arm. It looks really real.
Yeah, she just tore it right off and beat me with it.
Yeah, spanked me with my own arm. It was crazy. I was into it. Weirdest boner of my life.
Yep.
Yeah.
Caitlin was fun. I really enjoyed working with her and dating her when I dated her.
Cute couple, man. Cute couple. Lisa in the chat says, "Fuck you."
I mean, okay, so here's the thing. I would get super jealous because Lisa would like bring you dinner, like strawberry chicken.
Bring me, and we'd come pick me up. We'd go to the movies. Yeah, man, it was good. I was very happy when you and Caitlin started dating, man.
Well, yeah, because we dated for, I don't think we were dating my senior year. We did anyway, because I think we'd broken up in my junior year. I don't remember.
It was senior year.
I don't remember it. Was it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because I don't think we had only gone out like a few months. Yeah, well, it definitely kept me busy because then I wasn't like, oh, I wonder what Brett's doing tonight. Went on a date with Lisa. Okay. Fine. I'll get myself my own girlfriend.
Yeah. Hell yeah, man. Good times. Good times. Yeah, we literally just spewed out memories.
Stare off into the distance.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, right? This is the nostalgia show.
Mm-hmm.
And surprisingly, there are a lot of people who are still listening to this.
Yeah, there's a lot of people.
We had some people duck out, but now we've had a lot of people come back in.
It's great. Yeah, twitch.tv/JustSomeGuardians.
You guys have?
Oh yeah, anyone in the chat, if you want to throw some questions at us.
Questions you guys have?
We'll definitely do that. One more story I think we need to tell before we do stories.
Yeah.
So, I'm sorry I stole your man, Russ. I still love you, Lisa says.
I love you too. Like, okay. So for real, I was super jealous because I was like, man, I don't have anybody. Because we would do crazy stuff. Like we would be like, hey, let's see who can get the most numbers from girls, or who can get the most hugs, or just crazy stuff. So I was jealous, Lisa. You definitely did steal my man, but I got over it. I tried to anyway. I tried not to be too bitter.
I
Lisa, just started reading a lot.
Dude, you were like, you got to the point you would be riding your bike to and from school while reading and not die ever.
Yeah, no, I got really good at that. Well, you guys were always making out, so I was like,
listen, when
my best friend's gone.
It was nice. I'm just telling you, it was real nice. I get it sucks for you, but I had a great time.
I mean, I don't doubt it. I mean, I don't know how you still have lips, like they just have not eroded away.
Oh, again, these are prosthetic.
Were making out constantly.
Oh yeah, man, we're dating in high school. Would be like, that's the way it goes.
It would be like 5 minutes between classes, like madness. Like, oh gosh! So I just pull out my book. And then I was always the weird guy because I'm sitting there reading while standing next to you guys. or sitting next to you guys while reading.
Yeah.
So people would come up to me and be like, "Hey, you're that guy who's always reading. You're always next to that couple that's making out." And I'm like,
Yeah, that's me.
And occasionally you would come up for air, and then we'd have a conversation, and then dive.
Boo, boo, boo. Yeah. Oh, dude, we were super fucking cringe for sure. Super cringy.
You guys were sweet. I mean, you guys were very in love. It was very sweet.
We were, because now we're married for 10 years. So like it worked out.
Yeah.
Like I would feel worse if me and her didn't work out and like, you know, got taken away from you.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
So like,
no.
Yeah, it's all good now.
Yeah.
But
it
yeah,
is.
No, we've talked about it. And it was like, we probably should have. Probably should have some space, you know, like a lot of space.
I mean, you guys were just. It's funny now.
Oh,
it's funny now.
Oh yeah, we laugh about it now all the time, dude. Holy shit!
You know, I loved you guys, and I remember the very beginning of your guys' relationship, and I remember having a conversation with Cece once, and we're like, oh man, these guys have just got a date. Because at that time, you guys were just like flirting with each other constantly, and it was even more cringe than making out all the time. And I remember just like Cece and I just sitting there. I think we were at your house. You guys were like chasing each other and like having tickle fights or whatever. And I remember just Cece and I just looking at each other and being like, they need to date or something, because this is the worst, because both of us are like the fifth wheel.
Oh yeah,
and it's like, oh dang,
good times.
Yeah. There's no reason to feel bad. There's no reason to feel bad, Lisa. You guys are very sweet, and I love you guys.
Aw, thanks, dude. Yeah. Oh yeah, there was.
Okay, so what was the story?
Yeah, I forgot we were gonna tell. So the llama trip.
Oh my god, effing llama trip.
So we go.
I try to forget that. The worst effing camping trip of my entire life.
It was. You didn't like it, really? It was one of the best experiences of my life.
It ended up being the best in the moment. And being there.
Yeah.
Was just like, I just want to die.
It's one of the few times in my life I've been so exhausted I wept.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. So we went on this.
Yes.
The plan was to go on this 50-mile hike across the Colorado Trail. And what was the father of the Lewis clan? He'd had I can't remember what the disease he had.
He had MS.
MS, that's right. Yeah.
I think it was Lou Gehrig's disease.
Mm-hmm. So his body was, starting to shut down, and this was like he was an avid hiker, outdoors guy.
And he didn't know at the time.
No, he did.
I thought he didn't know. He had something done with his neck, and then it was like a couple of weeks later.
No, he knew this was his last trip. I was really close to that family. So he knew this was like his last time camping, hiking, everything. Mm-hmm. So like poor guy, by the end of it, like he had a bicycle helmet on with a bungee strap from the helmet to his backpack just to keep his head upright so he could see where he was going.
Because it started in his neck,
and
he would wear that like towel as like a brace. He had like a neck brace to kind of keep his head up, and then he had
the bungee strap on the bike helmet. Yeah, man, that was crazy. But so there was like there's like 20 of us on this hiking trip, and so we had so much gear that they had gotten a guy. No, not even a guide. We just had them. They'd rented a couple llamas.
Yeah,
legit llamas to carry our stuff.
Well, it was to carry the water. It was to carry the water because the portion that we were hiking, and it was also in a drought because Colorado's always in a drought.
Yep.
And they weren't sure if we were going to have enough water. So that's what the llamas were initially for, was for water. Yeah. And then they were like, oh, we've got an extra, because I think we ended up with like an extra llama.
Yeah, we had two. It was just going to be one.
I thought we had three. Did we only have the two?
Well, we went through three. We'd had two at a time.
That's right.
And then one of them got, because it was so stubborn. My favorite thing was the guy that was in charge of the llamas was like, they'll just randomly sit down and be like, nah, I'm done right now. And he's like, legitimately, if they do that, just kick him as hard as you can.
Yeah.
And that was all the guy. Hold a rope and kick him. It was the only guide he gave us. They're like, go have fun in the wilderness with llamas. We're like, oh, okay. And God, those things were they just gave up all. We spent the whole weekend just kicking llamas.
Yeah. They were the worst. Like, I don't know who was like, yeah, we should rent llamas. Like, this is a great idea.
It sounded great. We're like, I'm going to go hiking with llamas. This is badass.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like, it's a 50-mile trek. So you're like, okay, well, good. We'll have some water. And then there was some extra for the younger kids to be able to put like sleeping bags and, light stuff, but stuff on the llamas.
So we go through, and some of the most beautiful country I've ever seen in my life. I want to go do this hike again. Absolutely gorgeous. But it was like, such steep terrain at some point and well, you can't drive it.
I know.
And straight up, we wound up like above timberline. We drank water straight out of a mountain spring, like where it came out of the mountain. It was the most delicious water I've ever had in my life.
It was
beautiful
right
meadows.
off of
Oh, the glacier. Yeah. Oh, beautiful meadows. Great conversation. I had a day, Lisa's my brother-in-law now. So he was writing a book at the time. Do you remember this day?
Yes.
So he was writing a book at the time. And the only reason we made it through this day, we're like, hey, tell us the whole story. And we're just 1 foot step. Okay. Just walk and listen. Just take another step and listen. Just take another step and listen for like 9 hours straight. As he as a champion, never stopped talking about his book the whole time. And we just cruised. But I remember I think it was the second night we had the athletic group decided to go way ahead.
Because I had broken off.
Yeah.
I had for whatever reason, I was trying to keep up with the front group because we were in the back the first day, and then the second day, and it made sense too, because holy crap, well, it didn't make sense, but it made sense that people were stopping and like, man, I can't, this is as far as I can go, because it was supposed to be, I think the second day was like our longest. It was supposed to be like 12 miles, although
it was the big one,
15 or something like that. I tend to up it in my head.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we walked like 70 miles that day. Yeah.
Well, it felt like it.
It did.
And I think it was only like 10. And it was supposed to be 7 miles. It was supposed to be like half of it was supposed to be the rest of the way to Timberline, and then we were supposed to come down.
I think it was 12. I'm pretty positive it was 12.
I think it was 12. I think it was 12, and then it was supposed to be like 5 up and then 7 down.
Correct.
Or something like that. Like the majority was supposed to be downhill, and it was going to be like a rough day. And that was the day Kenny told you guys the story, because I had broken off, and I remember it because the next day I was like, tell me this thing, or the next, because that thing happened. So anyway, so this group breaks off.
Yeah, so we had all the kids are in like track and field, baseball, football, like all these kids that they go hiking, biking, people that bike for a living now and everything.
I should not have tried to keep up with them.
Whoom, just went ahead, right? And then there's the group that had the group with the llamas that were way behind, and then there was a small group of us that were kind of in the middle. And so I remember the sun had set, and I'm still trudging along this trail, like, where the fuck is camp?
Yeah.
Where are we going to camp? And Austin Meldrum comes running out of the darkness.
Yes.
And takes my pack. He's like, hey, we're another half mile. I'm like, another half mile? The sun's set. There's people behind me. What are we doing? And so I distinctly remember that night finally getting to camp, and I just slumped against a tree and pulled my hat down and I just fucking cried. I was so exhausted. I just cried.
Well, because they said, oh, well, it's going to be so many miles uphill and then the rest is downhill. It was not. That was a dirty effing lie.
Dirty effing lie.
Well, and I think we had gotten off the trail because we came up, and I mean, it was a steep climb to Timberline.
Oh, yeah.
And so we get up to this pass. That's where we take lunch, and we're like, man, it's over. Okay,
we made it.
We got a break, and everybody's together at that time.
Yeah,
and then we're like, okay, so the rest of it's downhill. We come over this saddle, And instead of going, it like went downhill for like a mile, and then we had to climb up and around and then over this valley and then down the other side, and then we were camped outside of the valley. And yeah, it was awful. Like, because we got separated. I got there, I don't know. I feel like it was probably only like 30 minutes before you guys. But I remember just sitting there and being like, this is the worst. And like, we didn't even get to where we were supposed to camp.
Nope.
Like, we cut early so that we could camp in this spot. And because nobody could move any further. And at that point we had found out that there were like several people, you know, there were several groups that were spread out. And I remember that. I was like, oh man, I hope Brett gets here. And my sleeping bag was on a llama.
Yep.
And so was yours.
No, I had mine. I had a mummy bag because we shared that night.
I thought we shared my sleeping bag.
No, because yours was on the llama. The llama never made it that night.
You didn't have a mummy. Well, we didn't share the mummy bag. We shared my sleeping bag because somebody had grabbed it.
Oh, okay, that's what it was.
Off of the llama and brought it forward. And I can't remember where your bag was because Harrison was the one who had to share the mummy bag with Zach.
Yes.
None of us liked at the time.
No one liked. Yeah, so me and Russell got really snuggled up and close that night, sharing a bag. It was lovely.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the group behind the llamas they like legitimately had to stop in this skinny trail to camp because they couldn't go any further. And then they were pissed.
And they had all the sleeping bags.
They had everything.
They had all the sleeping bags and tents. And nobody at the front camp had, like, people were sharing sleeping bags. There were no tents. And it was just,
we didn't have tents the whole time. Like the first night, I think someone just put a tarp up and we just rolled on it. Like no one had a tent, I think, the whole time. Yeah.
I just brought a tarp. I didn't bring a tent. I just brought a tarp.
So I think it was so they decided to take a day break the next day. And then one of the Lewis kids was like, hey, and goes over and opens up a pack on the llama. It's full of airsoft guns. He goes, I decided to bring these. We're like, are you kidding me right now? And so we spent a whole day running around the woods, shooting airsoft guns at each other with no eye protection. Brilliant. And had a good relaxing day. That's when they switched the llamas out that night. And then, so that was why we have a picture with 3 llamas. And during the night or early in the morning, Russell wasn't waking up. He had his mummy bag back. And so we saran wrapped him inside of his sleeping bag.
It was the next. So yes, but we had moved down the trail a bit because this wasn't the same spot.
Yeah, we had to go to another spot to meet up with the llama guy.
And the whole effing trip, I am freezing to death because I didn't have a mummy bag because I had borrowed the bag from the carnies. And so I just had this sleeping bag.
I keep thinking it's a mummy bag because you were saran wrapped in the picture.
Freezing.
I think that's why I keep picturing a mummy bag.
So I'm freezing to death. The entire trip, cannot get warm to save my life. Of course, at the time, I had like 0% body fat.
Yeah, you weighed like 8 pounds. Yeah.
Yeah. And so we had gone to sleep, and like, I think because at a certain point we were just like, so we would just throw a tarp on the ground and it was like, it's not probably going to rain tonight. And then we would all like cuddle together and go to sleep as we're just cuddled together in these sleeping bags. And I remember waking up, and the first thing that they did is they duct tape, because I was sleeping like this because I'm freezing, and they quick duct tape my arms so I can't get loose, and then they duct tape my feet. And I'm like, at this point, I'm like, this is gonna happen because there's like 4 of the older guys on me, and I'm like, this is done. This is over.
So good.
And so they had backpacked in saran wrap with the intention of pranking somebody. And I guess they had decided I was the best sport for it. And so they wrapped me up in the saran wrap. So they kept saying, and then they played cards on me. So they laid me out on the ground while we're kind of, we're resting. We're not, because after that, they had decided to take it a lot easier. So we didn't do 50 miles. I think we may have done like half that.
We did 39, I think.
Oh, did we? Okay.
Yeah.
So we're relaxing. They're playing cards on me. They're calling me the mermaid, and I had to correct them and make sure that they knew that I was the merman.
Merman.
Then they threw me with the llamas and took pictures. It was the warmest I was that whole trip. It was actually
That's what I was going to say. In their defense, it was probably the warmest you'd been the whole time.
Oh, yeah. Heck yeah. And I was super comfortable. I was like, this is great. And at one point, I remember asking for a pillow, and they were like, all right. And they just gave me a pillow, and I just, all right. Cool.
Yeah.
This is fun.
This is my life now.
This is my life now. And then they eventually cut me free.
I have the picture
and I just
somewhere.
remember you just cracking up.
God, I was dying, dude. Time. It was so fun because you didn't struggle. You literally went, "This is happening," and just took it. But it's not like you enjoyed it. It's like you weren't laughing, but you weren't mad. You literally just sat there in silence the whole time, just looking at the sky, like, "This is it. This is my life." It was so funny.
I thought it was a little funny, and I was like, you know, but if I make it too easy and enjoy it, then it's not as fun for them. Like, there has to be a little bit.
What a big heart you have.
Well, I mean, you know, it's one of those things. I knew it was going to create a memory. It's a funny story.
Oh, yeah.
Like, this is happening. This is funny, you know. So I was fine with it.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a great trip, man. I have to find that. I still have the photo somewhere in a book. My mom was huge into like keeping your photo albums all the time. So I have them somewhere here. I got to find those gorgeous pictures. Oh yeah, dude. Oh my God. So beautiful.
It was gorgeous. It was a fantastic hike, but 50 miles was just way too much for me. I'm like 5 miles a day. That's my max. We had some fun trips.
We had some great trips. And we told like probably like 8, 9, 10 stories tonight of just like really awesome things we did when we were, did everything together.
Well, and then we would sword fight, like, because we had both gotten like wooden swords.
Oh yeah.
And then it, like we would just like choreograph things in the back with airosofting. And then I remember one time I'd gotten like this plastic sword that was really cool, and we're like choreographing a fight. Because we were making a movie with everybody, yeah, and I accidentally caught it on the ceiling and broke it in half. It just ripped right at the seam because I think I'd gotten it from like Party America or something. It was part of like a costume. Oh,
I got us. Oh shit! I could. So, I could totally pull it up. No, I did find, so my mom backed everything she's ever had on Google Photos. And so there's videos of us lightsaber dueling in her backyard.
Oh yeah. I remember that.
I've got all those, and I'm like so tempted to just throw one up on stream.
Oh man, you should.
Holy shit, yeah. I'll do that after.
Boys.
Yeah, I'll do that afterwards.
Where we did the Revenge of the Sith thing where we're
did
like,
it all. Trying to choreograph.
Yeah, because I think Lisa filmed those, didn't she?
Yeah, she did.
Yeah. Man,
and she still dated me after that. That's weird.
Yeah. Like, and you would always have like, I think you had gotten a new airsoft gun, and it was, gosh, what was that gun? You had to cock it back. It was black. And it had the orange thing, but it had like I can't remember what it was.
Yeah.
So
there we go.
Yeah, I think that's the show.
Well, should we do? Yeah, I mean the whole story, the whole show was story time, but like that wasn't gaming, so let's do it.
Story time.
Thank you, Ethan. Oh, and also for the record, Russ. While we were on vacation, I know I messaged, but it went live today. The episode I recorded with my daughter from our hotel room on vacation.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Super cute. It's the most nervous I've ever been doing our show. I don't know why, but like I was so excited, and once I got set up, and I'm like, I'm really anxious right now. Just like, you know, it's my daughter. I want everything to go well, but like, you know, Lisa's sitting in the room,
right?
And like when I do this, like there could be 7 million people watching us on Twitch, and I'd be okay. But if Lisa's even in this room, I'm like, someone's looking at me, you know? So like just knowing they were there in the room, I was like, oh God. But yeah, oh dude, it's so much fun.
Okay, I'll have to listen to it.
Yeah. But anyway, so that was my son. Yeah, story time is a segment we do on the show where we tell a story in gaming from our past. Tabletop, paper, RPG, video gaming, airsoft has been a thing. Any sort of gaming story. We get very nostalgic on the show. Mm-hmm. It's been a staple of our show for like 80 episodes, I think.
Has it started that long ago?
Yeah, we've been doing story time for a long time. Russ, you got a story for us?
Yeah, we have. It's more of a memory than a story. I think I've shared enough stories. Oh, you know what? I do. I have a story.
Well, if you tell your memory out loud, it then becomes a story. So
it then becomes a story. So I remember in elementary school, I used to be really good friends with this girl named Joy. And Joy and I were just best buds, and we would always hang out. And like she had an N64, so we would play Super Smash Brothers together all the time. But I remember specifically, I got so like I didn't have an N64. I never played Ocarina of Time, but I remember being so wrapped up because she would like tell me, okay, well, yeah, this is what I did, and Legend, you know, Ocarina of Time, and I'd be like, oh, I want to watch you play it. I want to watch you play it. And so I remember her watching her try to play the water temple and her being like just about to throw the controller through the screen and be like, F this noise. And she refused to play it for me ever after. So when I got older and I could start buying my own stuff, I got a GameCube because the GameCube was a lot cheaper than trying to buy an N64. Because N64s are still super expensive because people are crazy.
Forever will be.
Right. So I got the GameCube, and I got like one that had Ocarina of Time and then Majora's Mask on it. And I remember playing through the Water Temple and going, "Yep, I get it now."
I understand.
This is the worst thing ever. And that's it. That's my story. Water Temple. To sum up, Water Temple sucks.
Amen. This is truth.
Mm-hmm. What's your story? Tell me
my story. Ooh, my story. I was going through Google Photos instead of thinking of a story because it's open now and there's all these memories here. Story time for Mr. ELMMERFUDD will be the story that I'm going to tell very shortly. And it will be a good story. The words will flow from my mouth in a way that has a beginning, middle, and an end, perhaps a climax in there, depending on the story that I will be telling about gaming and something that I've done after I finish this monologue.
I have a story of you.
Okay.
You are the only person that I have seen in person be able to play through the fire and flames on hard and succeed. You're the only person I've seen in person.
Yeah.
Because that was nuts. I remember us working on it.
Practiced. So much. Well, I remember, okay. Well, that'll be not doing it. This will be a story. So I remember we were at the Ballantines, and it was the first time I'd played that Guitar Hero. I can't remember which one Fire and the Flames at the end song. Was that the first one, actually? Through the Fire and Flames at the end song?
No. It was
Guitar Hero 3?
It was 3.
3, yeah. So it was the first time we'd spent, I think it was me, you, and one other person, and we just took turns playing songs. And that song played at the end when you finished the game.
Yep.
So the
Credits.
game ends and that song starts. It was the first time I'd ever, like a lot of people, I think, that was the first time any of us had heard the song. And it was so insane. And I felt like I was really good at the game. And I got my ass handed to me by Through the Fire and Flames. And I remember just going, holy shit, I need to succeed at this. And so I went home and bought Guitar Hero 3 and I just practiced that nonstop, dude.
Yeah.
The first time I hear that song and seeing all those notes come up, I'm like, wait, what? No. Holy shit, that was crazy, dude. Good times. Yeah. So we're going to bring another segment back. It's been gone a long time, and we actually have a soundbite for it now. So this is going to be our new bumper.
Question of the week.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Question of the Week. There is a channel in our Discord titled Question of the Week. I'm pretty sure I'm going to check after the show. I don't even know if it still exists. So a lot of podcasts out there, right? They have questions that you send in and they answered on the show. Boring. Everyone does that. No one has time for that, right? Especially us, because we talk way too much about everything else. There's no way we could answer questions on top of that. So what we do is we will ask you a question. You will go into that channel, answer that question, and then next week we'll go through everyone's answers, right? And
so we're asking the audience
a question, and they will give us the answer.
Oh.
Yeah.
We're gonna do every answer, or we're just gonna pick our favorites.
Let's be real. We're gonna get 2 answers at first, so we'll read all of them, and then
I think I might be overestimating how many people listen to the show.
So something to look at. Like, we're gonna, all right, little background look here, all of you listeners, right? We used to have a really good following, right? Before we stopped recording for a year. And so, yeah, we did this segment a few times where we had to pick and choose because there were so many answers. And, you don't record for a year. And fun fact, not as many people are listening to your show. So
really?
we're on that grind. We're on that numbers grind again. But yeah, we'll get there. But yeah, first,
maybe.
We'll probably have 1 or 2. We had a little bump though. Like, I think more people are realizing we're back or discovering us. So,
oh,
yeah,
cool.
Yeah. Oh, actually, I have a story for you after I asked the question.
Okay.
So,
jeez, come on.
Sorry, I'm really sorry about that. So our first question for you, the audience, because we were talking about taking family vacations and your favorite memory and whatnot, and having that whole memory. What is your favorite family vacation you've ever taken?
Oh yeah,
a memory that pops out. This was the highlight. Your favorite vacation.
Mm-hmm.
And Russell, you're more than welcome to answer that as well in there. Not right now. Like, type it in so there's more. So we have content next time. Lead the charge, Russ. Lead the charge.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Where do I answer that question at, Brett?
So in our Discord, which is linked to our Twitter at JSGcast, is a way to get into the Discord, and there will be a channel called Question of the Week, where we will type the question there, pin it every week, and then you just have to respond there.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, it'll be a good time. I liked doing this before, and I remembered that was a thing, and I was like, oh, we need to make that a thing again.
I agree.
Yeah. Okay, quick story for you, then we'll get out of here. I know the whole podcast has been stories. Right. All right, Russell. This was cool. So I'm playing Call of Duty Warzone with this wonderful lady called Just Glad to Be Here. Great streamer. Go check her out. Twitch.tv/Just Glad to Be Here. And her roommate walks in and he goes, who are you playing with? She goes, oh, I'm playing with Fudd. He goes, you're playing with ELMMERFUDD? And she's like, yeah. He's like, can I talk to him, please? and I'm like, what is happening right now? And so she gives him, the microphone, and he tells me that he listens to the podcast.
What?
He's like, I love your guys' podcast.
That's
yeah.
weird.
And I'm like,
I don't know.
This is so cool, right?
Yeah.
So, hey, shout out to you if you listen to this one. Or if you gave up already after you listened to that other one. I don't know.
Yeah, you were just like, yeah, man.
Yeah, but I'm making it sound way better. Like, she's been involved in all my tournaments. Like we're all friends. I'm making it sound. I'm making it sound like a more famous moment, but you know, you got to make it sound good.
He wasn't just a rando. He was like he participates in the community.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I felt once I finished the story, I felt really bad that I made it sound way cooler than it was. The other day,
that's still pretty cool though.
It was super cool.
Do listen to us, which is far beyond.
No, it's cool when someone who I've never actually mentioned the podcast to before says that they listen to it, like because they found out about it. Like that's cool.
They are outside of the immediate circle.
Yeah, exactly. Like that was
super secondary.
Yeah, you know, I was walking down the street the other day, and a group of people just ran like, "Oh my God, you're ELMMERFUDD," and freaked out. You know, it was super crazy. Yeah.
I think hell might freeze over if I ever see anybody walking around with like a Just Some Guardians t-shirt.
Oh yeah. Oh my God.
I think I'd freak out.
I almost wore my JSG shirt to Garden of the Gods just to walk around and just see. You never know.
You should have.
I should have.
Advertising.
I did wear a he-shirt, she-shirt shirt though.
He-shirt, she-shirt.
I did wear a
he-shirt.
Kevin Conroy.
T-shirt, she-shirt, sure.
Sure. Yes. So yeah, that was just super cool. It's one of those things you're like, oh my God, like I didn't know what to do in the moment. It was so sweet. I'm like, oh my God, someone listens to our show. They love it. Yay.
I know it's that's weird. I don't know what I'd do if somebody said that. Like they were like, oh yeah, listen to your show.
Yeah, they said they started playing Assassin's Creed Valhalla because of our episode.
Really?
Yeah. How cool is that?
That's for real.
That's for real. Cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, Assassin. Hey,
Vindication. Oh, what?
Ubisoft, if you want to, you know, sponsor us.
Yeah, we got one person to buy your game. Pay up. Let's go.
I mean, hey. Or if you want to invite us out like the next time, I'd be more than happy.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Be like, hey, look how awesome this game is.
We're great. Yeah. Hey, Russ.
Yeah.
In the future, my friend.
Don't ask me this. Don't ask me.
Russell. Dearest, darlingest Russell.
What?
In the future, if people want to find you on social media.
Oh no.
Where can they go?
Every time. Okay, you can find me at drjex, that's JEX0725 on Twitter. Mostly posts not much lately. Art when I have time. Lots of D&D stuff usually because I'm a big D&D guy. And then you can also find me on the Discord, of course, and that's Jekyll7250. I got it right because I was looking at it.
You did.
And yeah, I'm more than happy to talk to anybody. I honestly don't have my notifications turned on for Discord because there's a lot. But yeah, feel free to reach out to me. I'll get back to you. I'll talk to you. I'll tell you I love you.
That is true. He will.
Send you a shirtless pic if you really want one.
Oh yeah.
Send you pictures of Dick Cheney.
Hell yeah. Who doesn't like pictures of Dick Cheney?
That's what they call my penis.
The hammer?
The hammer.
I've seen it. It is a sight.
No, but I'm more than happy to talk to anybody, and it doesn't even have to be anything dirty.
But he prefers it.
I don't know why I added that. Brett.
Yeah, it doesn't have to Brett, be, but he definitely prefers it.
Please take me from this. I feel like I'm digging.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys know this, but Russell's got some issues. Yeah.
just a couple. They're mostly mommy issues.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us. This is going to be weird to say right here, Russ.
Wasn't this supposed to be a short show?
Episode 99.
99
of Just Some Guardians.
I wonder if there's anybody out there who's listened to like all 99 episodes.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I edited them, so I do. That's one.
There's our one.
There's definitely got to be at least one person that's listened to every episode. And if it's you, I'm sorry you had to deal with the first like 9 when we recorded off the PlayStation. We all had our headsets, and it was like,
gosh.
Hello, everybody, welcome to Just Some Guardians.
Well, and we're playing video games at the same time, or at least I was.
Yep. Oh yeah, dude. Oh, it's bad. So bad. I tried to go back and listen to like one of our beginning episodes, just like because it was popped in my head, and I was like,
just to see.
No,
Yeah.
nope, we're garbage. But you got to have those beginnings, man. Yeah, yeah. So yeah. Everyone, thank you for joining us for episode 99 of Just Some Gardens. We do this show. We are live. Twitch.tv/Just Some Gardens, Friday nights at 11:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Come hang out. The pre-show is incredible. A lot of stuff occurs after. I don't know if we're going to have stuff going on tonight. We'll see. But yeah, the after show shit. It's great too. Come hang out. Ask us questions. Tell us we're stupid in chat. Ask us if we want to become famous and buy followers, primes, and viewers at https://cuttt.ly/lzd. Yeah, bigfollow.com. It's going to be great. We're going to be famous. You can email us justsomegardens@gmail.com or find us on Twitter at JSGcast. Link to the Twitter. What are you doing, Russ?
I'm so sorry. I lost it. It just started rolling.
Is that your ring?
Yes. We'll put it back on my finger now.
You may email us at justsomegardens@gmail.com. You can find us on Twitter at JSGcast. Link to the Twitter is a way to get into the Discord. What we talked about earlier, you can answer that question. But also, come chat with us. A lot of Outriders talk going on right now. It's been fun. It's been good.
We should talk about that at some point.
Yeah.
Again, like as a like.
I'm
anyway
really trying to get into it, and I can't. I'm going to be honest with you.
Once you, I think, how far have you gotten? Have you gotten like past where the demo was, or?
I don't know where the demo ended.
It ended right before you left, like that first camp, that first base.
Oh, I'm in that first base, I think.
Okay. It gets better. The grind was really fun. Like it wasn't fun until after I had finished it, and then I was like, oh, I can go back and grind.
It's just
this is fun, and I started to figure out the abilities more, and then I was like, okay.
It feels like a game that should have came out 3 years ago.
It does. And
I think that's what gets me.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. It does feel a little dated in places. The stories. I mean, I haven't played past the demo, but
okay. Everyone I know is loving it and playing a shit ton of it. So I just need to play more, I think. But it's just not hooking me yet, and it makes me sad.
I don't think, from what I heard, the story isn't great. It's like it's whatever.
It just exists. Okay.
Yeah. But the gameplay.
We're trying to end the show. What are we doing?
Getting in there with other people. I know.
What are we doing? Ladies and gentlemen, I'm ELMMERFUDD. You can find me on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, all those places at ELMMERFUDD Games. MMD. I would really appreciate it if you could actually go to the YouTube and find me and subscribe if you want. Because like I'm getting close to the number where you can have your own URL instead of it being like, youtube.com/CWRQ457s, whatever all that stuff is. I'm really close to having my own URL, which is very exciting.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So if you guys could do that, I would appreciate that.
Click the like button and the little bell down at the bottom to receive notifications every time we post a new video.
It's your boy, ELMMERFUDD Games. Smash that subscribe button. Yeah.
I think that might be trademarked.
Probably. I don't know.
You might have just opened us up to a lawsuit.
Hey, Russell.
Yeah.
Dig us out.
Join us next week on Just Some Guardians for mutual chaos and utter incompetency.
Yes. I think it would have been a shorter show if we didn't decide to just tell every story from our childhood.
It just happened.
Yeah,
like
I dug it.
It just happened. I enjoyed it too. I hope other people enjoy it because it is very like, I feel like that one was for us.
Yeah, it was. I think I'm going to title the episode "You Had to Be There."
I love it. I think that's perfect.
It was 2 hours of you had to be there stories.
yeah. I think we gave enough detail. I think some of them were pretty fun, but I mean, a lot of it was, hey, here's some cool stuff that happened with us. Here's our bonding moments in our childhood and how much fun we used to have together.
We had really cool teenage years.
We did. I think we had great teenage years. I would not trade them for anything. We had good adventures. We had good stories. We had some sexy ladies.
Yeah, we did. Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Geez, yeah. We got up to, but we never really got into a lot of trouble. Like we were